Hello. Hello. We are back. Excuse me. Welcome. And this is our second edition to our dating game that we have on the channel. With featuring Indiana Jones and three matches that we have. This is our second match in Temple of the Doom. Okay, we have the same. Well, we have a little bit over the same runtime, an hour and 59 minutes. So I think this one is shorter, if I'm not mistaken. Can't remember. And let's get into the dating game, shall we? 1 second. All right, welcome. Let's pull up our video here. I'll make it a little bit. Let's make it a little bigger. Not me, a little bigger. This a little bigger. That will. Okay, so welcome to our movie reaction dating game. All right, so we have our bachelor, Dr. Henry Walton Jones, aka Indiana Jones, and our second match, which is Willie. Okay, aka, well, that's her nickname, Willie Scott. Full name, Wilhelmina Scott. All right. This beautiful blonde stage performer who loves the glamour and glitz and hates to get dirty, most of all break a nail. She is not into the outdoors, but will tell it like it is when necessary, which may be her downfall with Jones, who does not like at all the mouth from Willie. All right, born and raised in Missouri, Wilhelmina had big dreams in show business, attempting to begin a career. Hollywood Scott was unsuccessful during the Great Depression, so she went to the Far East, where she was able to make work in several Shanghai productions. She met our adventurous bachelor at the club, Obi-Wan, owned by crime lord Lao She. Okay, so let's get into a little short trailer of this, and we'll be right back. This, by the way, in real life is the wife of Steven Spielberg, who plays in this movie. We have some more movie trivia coming up, as well as a little theory that the little kid in here, Short Round, is his surrogate son. Okay? Now, we are going to be reacting to the end of this movie because, you know, this is for our monthly movie tribute. We don't necessarily have to do the full movie. I've seen this movie numerous times, but if you have not, you can watch it in its entirety on Amazon Prime for free if you have a subscription. Okay, let's get into a little bit of facts about this movie. Let me just hold on. Let's talk a little bit about this movie. So the timeline, this is an assignment that is set in 1935, which is a year before Raiders of the Lost Ark, which is timelined in 1936. So this is before our match number 1 of Miriam. In reality, this premiered 3 years after our production to Indiana Jones in 1984 on May 23rd. Now, this sequel was a financial jackpot, $330 million on a $28 million budget, but the people did not know how to feel after watching it. This is a darker, actually more scarier of the Jones missions with black magic, illegal child labor, and grosser scenes than Raiders of the Ark. And we'll talk about more issues and ratings for this movie a little later, alright? So let's get into the reaction and tune in if you would. I can't, of course, show any of the movie today due to copyrights and our strike that we're currently under, but we will be closely clearing off of our channel. So stay tuned. I'll tell you the minute mark in just a second when it comes up. Oh, and let me pull up the trivia so we could be talking about that while we watch along. Okay, hold on 1 second.
century ago, when the British raided this temple and butchered my people, a loyal priest hid the last 2 stones down here in the catacombs.
So that's what you've got these slick apes digging for, huh?
We're at the 1 hour and 12 minute mark of this movie. 1 hour and 12 minute mark of the movie. If you want to watch along on Amazon Prime. So let's get into a little trivia of this movie. Oh, and let me tell you what's going on too if you're unfamiliar with this movie. Indiana Jones right now is captured, him and Short Round. And I think as well, Willie. I think all of them are captured, okay? What's this bad man's name? Mola Ram? That's his name? Yes, Mola Ram. That's his name, the bad guy. The man who be taking their heart out their chest. That you saw in the, I think you saw it in the preview, if I'm not mistaken. Well, he is torturing Indiana Jones because the prince of the thing has a voodoo doll and he's burning it. So he's burning Indiana Jones, making him suffer on the inside. And Short Round is trying to help him, and they beating him up. It's a lot going on right now. And his mission is to try to get these sacred stones back to the village where it belongs, because they've kidnapped all the kids and the town is famished and they're dying and starving because the crops are starving and drying out. And all of this is going on because the stones have magic in them, which brings that village, prosperity and food and all of that. So Indiana Jones has to get those stones back to that village. So at the beginning of this movie, also that I featured in the little visual, I had the dress that Willie is wearing. Let's talk about it. It was a one-time thing. It was only one dress made. Okay, so they had one shot to do for the opening scene, which was going to be done last. So the scene where she's sitting by the campfire with the elephant started to eat the dress. But they were able to save it in time, make emergency repairs. But Anthony Powell, the designer of the dress, had to fill out an insurance form, and for the reason, dress eaten by elephants. Yeah. Some expensive little beads there from back in the day for a dress. Oh, okay, so the name of the villain, Lao She, in the beginning of the movie, the Asian man, okay, is a nod to Liu Sha, the leader of the evil organization in Fritz Lang's silent era films, The Spiders, episodes 1 and 2, which came out in 1920. And this is also partly what inspired Indiana Jones. A revealing mistake: when the spear is thrown at Indiana in the club, the wires connected are visible, which I still couldn't see. I'm gonna have to go back and watch it.
We pledge our devotion to her with an offering of flesh and blood.
What? I never noticed that either. So at the 10-minute and 26-minute mark, Willie's position with the rolling gong changes. She's going, the gong passes in front of her while she's standing alone. It cuts to a shot of Indy running along behind the gong, and which is still far away from Willie but rolling towards her. Then it cuts another shot of the gunman, and then you see Indy running behind the gong as it's in front of Willie, who's with the man in a black tux, until Jones grabs her. I'm going to have to pay attention to that scene. The 10-minute and 26 mark. They say that's a mistake. Oh, and just something else to note, the little boy who plays Short Round is the same man who plays the husband in Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. The big movie that won the big Oscar last year, you know. Him. And he played Data in Goonies. The giant vampire bats shown in the movie are actual fruit bats. Alright. Okay, so just some general trivia here. George Lucas said although he originally intended for Temple of Doom to have a darker tone compared to Raiders of the Ark, much like Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back was darker than Star Wars 4, A New Hope. He admitted that it made much darker than he intended, part of the reason being that both he and Spielberg were going through a breakup at the time. He wasn't in a good mood. Steven Spielberg also admitted that although he agreed with Lucas's idea for a darker tone, he felt uncomfortable with certain scenes while filming them and would attempt to inject some humorous elements to them to lighten up the mood. The scene where Indy is fighting the thuggy chief guard with a hammer and the guard takes the hammer away and tosses it aside, only to have it land on a bystander's head, knocking him out with a comical thud, is a prime example of the scene lightening up the mood. The film's original title was Indiana Jones and the Temple of Death, which was changed because it sounded too foregoing, too blunt. So it was retained to the film's German title, Indiana Jones and the Temple des Todes. Alright. Short Round said he wasn't going to stay down there digging on those stones. I don't blame him. Oh no. I forgot all about this part. So they have Indiana Jones under some little demonic spell, and they about to try to burn Willie like a piece of chicken in the volcano, because that's the little ritual they have going on around them. Willie knows she could scream. Speaking of Willie, Sharon Stone was one of the top choices for the role of Willie Scott before Kate Capshaw auditioned. Stone later starred in King Solomon's Mine and its sequel Allan Quatermain and the Lost City of Gold, two films that attempted to duplicate the success of Indiana Jones. Nowhere near as good. I watched them. They're somewhat entertaining. They're not too bad, but I don't particularly, I wouldn't do a reaction to them, and I definitely would not watch them now. But my sister likes them. Also, Markie Post from Night Court, if you don't remember her, Fame was heavily considered for the role of Willie Scott. But I think they did a good job of choosing Kate because she just fits the role. She does. The look, the opening scene, she sold it. She did great. That's no disrespect to the other ladies, especially Sharon Stone, okay? So let's just clear this up, which I'm glad they did point out, that although they might be consumed in some parts of Southeast Asia, snakes, insects, and monkey brains would never be served in India, okay? Especially not in the palace of a Hindu king or a Mahara. Due to the strict Hindu and Islamic dietary codes, a significant portion of Indians, mostly Hindus, are strict vegetarians due to those religious restrictions, okay? Right, so the scene where Willie stirs up her soup and the eyeballs come up was actually a pain in the butt scene to shoot. It took many takes to get the result in the final film. The eyeballs were attached to the bottom of the soup bowl with stick-ups. Kate Capshaw was supposed to give the soup a good stir to release the eyes, but the stick-ups held down, too tightly. So it took a lot of takes to get those eyeballs to come up at the right time all together like they were supposed to. The chilled monkey brains were made of custard and raspberry sauce. So think of it as raspberry ice cream the next time you see this scene, because that's what it was. Ooh. Wow. So Harrison Ford suffered a herniated disc in his back due to the scene where he is attacked in his bedroom by one of the thuggy assassins, when he takes the whip and choke him on the ceiling fan. So it caused production to be shut down while Ford was flown to LA for spinal surgery. Wow. A large portion of Ford's work in the fight scene and chases in Temple of Doom is actually performed by stuntman Vic Armstrong. Wow. In the original draft, there was supposed to be a motorcycle chase scene across the Great Wall of China. But the Chinese government refused to grant permission. And they had a lot of restrictions filming in India as well. We'll talk about that later on. So it says, wow, that this movie is the first film to use THX, Theaters Alignment Program, which ensures that cinemas showing this film meet the technical and presentation standards, which I guess contributes to why they sound so good now when you go to the theater. Certain movies just have a certain sound to them and a certain look. Is it an hour? No, that's not true. It's not an hour into the movie. Oh, well, maybe it is. No, because we started at an hour and 12, right? So, that's not true. That's a mistake. It says the main villain, Mola Ram, doesn't make his first appearance until after an hour into the movie. But that's not true. A few minutes before the hour mark is where they witness him take the man's heart out, which I think is around like the 40-minute mark. I'm going to have to fact check that. Oh, so we need to keep this in mind. Alright, I need to remember this at the 27-minute mark in my video as well. The timeline of Indiana Jones films are: the first movie takes place in 1936. The second film takes place as a prequel in 1935. Then the third installment, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, is in 1938. Which is 2 years after Miriam. Okay, we'll be getting into that next week. And Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of Crystal Skull, which we will not be doing a reaction to, took place years later in 1957. So that is good to know. Keep that in mind. Oh, wait. I don't know if this is true, but let's get into this tea right here. While filming the whipping scene, which is where we came into, the crew played a practical joke on Harrison Ford. While he was chained to the large stone, Barbara Streisand showed up dressed in a leather dominatrix outfit and proceeded whipping him, saying, "That's the Hanover Street, the worst movie I ever saw." She continued whipping him for Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, and making all of that money. Then Carrie Fisher threw herself in front of Ford to protect him, and Irvin Kershner chided director Steven Spielberg, "Is this how you run your movies?" And the entire sequence was filmed. Holy shit. That was what's going on the set of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom? What? I can't even picture Barbara Streisand in a leather dominatrix outfit. Oh my goodness. You heard it here on the channel first for the movie trivia of this installment of Indiana Jones. Woo! Well, we know that. I'm not even gonna read that. Oh, wow. So when this film came out, it was controversial. I did read about that, which we were going to talk about a little later. And it came under fire because it was accused of being racist and far too violent for an Indiana Jones film. Compared to the first one, it is a 180, and to be very much more darker and serious and gory. I mean, I'm watching a man right now be crushed to death. The fat man who was whipping all the kids. So he did kind of deserve to go out, but it's disgusting. Okay, so wait, what? How is that possible? Most of the cavernous mine, where they were working was a miniature, and the walls were made of aluminum foil. Okay. The sounds of the mine car running along the tracks during the chase scene were recorded at the roller coasters in Disneyland, with the music and sound effects. A revealing mistake. The amount of water that spills out of the water tower would not make it all the way to the end of the tunnels where Indy, Willie, and Short Round escaped to. There were several instances where the rail car tracks were large chasms of molten rock in the water would have evaporated or filled up before it reached the end of the tunnel. Alright, so the rope bridge. I always found this scene to actually be fun looking. Didn't they have this as a ride at Disneyland at one point? The scene where they on the tracks. I never rode it, but it do look fun. Except for when Indy got to stop it with his feet. Now that didn't look fun at all. So the scenes involving the rope bridge. Now that was shown in that visual at the beginning. You can rewind if you're just coming in and watch it. The entire bridge itself was a location in Sri Lanka, and the scenes where Indy cuts the bridge were filmed there also. And they say Steven Spielberg is so I guess afraid of heights, so he would never walk over, and he would have to drive a mile and a half to reach the other side. Harrison Ford, on the other hand, didn't fear it and would just run across at full speed. Scenes involving the long rope were actually 3 different continents. The entire bridge itself was on location in Sri Lanka, and the scenes where he cuts it is filmed there also. The scenes where the bridge is hanging, where the alligators are, is in London, and were shot by Frank Marshall in Florida. Oh, so it's a different shot of the alligators versus them hanging there, so that's not the same. shot. I mean, you would really have to know what alligators look like to spot that that's actually a Florida alligator. I'm gonna have to pay attention to that because that hasn't came up yet. But a revealing mistake is Indy is shot with arrows while climbing up the bridge, but it's clear that they bounce off of him. I've never noticed that either. I ain't never noticed that he got hit by no arrows either. Oh, I see what they saying about the water that, you know, like, oh, I see what they saying. All that would have filled up before reaching them. That's true. Oh, he thought he got rid of him. Well, thank God for Willie's punch. Thank God they made it. Oh, thank goodness for leather shoes. No, it's not gonna work. Oh, wow. Oh, I see what happened. They went through that little crevice. Okay, I would not want to go across that bridge either. Stop bouncing, little baby. No, little boy. That's what he get for bouncing on a wooden bridge that's probably 800 years old. No, it wasn't. You don't have your gun. Oh no. Oh my goodness, this lady and her scream is iconic. She knows she could scream.
Let her go, Moron! You are in a position unsuitable to give orders. Watch your back! You want the stones? Let her go! Let her go! Drop them, Dr. Jones! They will be found!
How will they? I always wondered, how did they get those stones? Because didn't he actually go through and drop them down and the alligators ate them? Like, how the hell they got in the water and got the stones? They should have put that in the movie. How they got them stones. Are you kidding me? I didn't know they made her get on the bridge with the baby. I thought they let now, there's some parts of this movie I don't remember. Just when you think you know a movie, huh? Because you've seen it numerous times and you forget. That's a horrible way to go, boy. Woo. Go that famous bat hitting that leather jacket punch. He's trying to get his heart while he hanging off for dear life. Mother Rama, that ain't a good idea, babe. Very strong the way they just climbing up and hanging on. Oh, let's pay attention. They said some of them hit him. Oh, I did just see one bounce off of him. Ooh. Yes, that's right. Kick him, kick him. Oh. See, they fell. Yeah, they go 2 of them falling. Oh. So he lost 2 and saved 1. Was 1 enough? I don't understand. Did they get the other 2? Did they go down there and gut all the alligators? Oh, I see now all them arrows bouncing off of him. Okay. Now they deciding to run. Oh, they surround. So they only needed 1 rod?
Could have kept it.
All right.
Just put it in a museum. It'd be another rock collecting dust.
But then it would have given you your fortune and your glory.
Anything could happen. It's a long way to Delhi.
No thanks. No more adventures with you, Dr. Jones.
Sweetheart, after all the fun we've had together.
If you think I'm going to Delhi with you or any place else after all the trouble you've gotten me into, think again, Buster. I'm going home to Missouri where they never feed you snakes before ripping your heart out, lowering you into hot pits. This is not my idea of a swell time. Excuse me, sir. I need a guide to Delhi.
So we've reached the end of the movie. mean, they just made him his surrogate son because he was in a movie with him as a character that was his sidekick? That's crazy. I was trying to see if there was any validity or research or any like fandom thread that made out to make Short Round his surrogate son, but it isn't. I think they just titled him that due to his appearance as his sidekick in Temple of Doom. Weird. Oh, this movie was on a temporary ban in India, due to the children and the depiction of Indian culture. Zine being heavily criticized. Oh wow. So let's talk about this rating system of this movie. In response to some of more violent sequences in the film, with similar complaints about Gremlins, Steven Spielberg suggested that the Motion Picture Association, after its rating system, introduce an intermediate in between PG and R. So the new PG-13 rating was introduced 2 months after this film's release. This movie created PG-13. Wow. And it was suggested by Steven Spielberg. In the UK, the film was heavily censored for a PG rating. The United Kingdom followed suit 5 years later and introduced a 12 rating. And Batman in 1989 being the first film to receive it in the UK. Temple of Doom was itself re-rated 12 uncut in 2012 in the UK. Wow. So Gremlins has an R rating. Wow. We've come a long way. And we will be continuing that way next week when we get into our last installment of this dating game with match number 3, who is actually our wild card to this dating game, and Indiana Jones. And we'll see who he ends up with, as there is a new Indiana Jones that will be premiering this year. We'll be discussing some more of that in our last reaction to this for our Rome Action monthly movie tribute theme in February. And just to confirm, next month's theme will be Creed. I mentioned that in the live earlier today to our movie night selection of Megan. If you have not watched that, go check it out. It is available. Yep. So we're gonna be watching Creed 1 and 2 and Rocky 1 and 2. We're gonna be doing a reaction and comparison, and this is all into our theme of March Madness. So we got some boxing going on next month. Okay, thank you guys for staying and hanging with me today for this second edition of the movie reaction dating game, and I will see you guys next week before the month ends to follow and end this out with The Last Crusade. I'll catch you then, and in the meantime, enjoy the rest of you guys' weekend. And it was nice hanging out with you guys and being back here like I should, right? Make sure you thumbs up and subscribe if you are new. Come join the Clubhouse 81 Club members. We would love to have you aboard as we do this every week. I'm out of here, you guys.